Hello, and welcome back to the Kyle Davis Show. And so this will be the third installment of the problems with psychology, the warning to psychology majors. And I think this one's going to concentrate more on the academic side rather than the field or working in the field. And so I actually have a Bachelor of Science in Psychology, and I'm actually working towards getting my master's in social work. To those who have been watching the channel, this may be a shock to you because I have done many right side things and and right side of politics and psychology don't always go together. Anyway, um, if anybody has any questions about anything or want my opinion, I am more than happy to give it. If you have any questions, please ask. Like, that doesn't bother me. Just leave a comment below and ask your question. Like, I don't have any problem with that at all. So, one of my biggest problems with the psychology concentration, with someone who's actually had the science exposure as well, is that I don't like how, I'm going to say, opinionated psychology is. Now, yes, there are the theories, and yes, there are um, whatever in psychology, but the professors can be very opinionated at times. Not only that, but one professor is going to want things differently than another professor. So, for an example, one professor had was a grammar Nazi and said if you had any more than two errors in the entire paper, some 5 pages, 10 pages, if you had any more than two grammatical errors or mechanical errors, then that was an automatic 10-point deduction, no question. And then I've had other professors who are like, you know what? I know what you're trying to say, close enough. I don't really care about, these 5 or 6 grammatical errors. It wasn't ridiculous. They were small, so I'm not even going to worry about it. Whereas, the grammar Nazi professor was like, yeah, so you have a comma splice here, and you have a wrong capitalization there. So, being a psychology and a good writer, you should know better. And I'm like, bruh, no. So, and there's a huge mix of in between, and every professor obviously is going to be different, but to what complexity the professor is going to be different for each professor. Yeah, post-ed. I love that. Instead of FedEx, it's post-ed. That's perfect. Anyway, then I need to get over like right in there. Perfect. Anyway, so yeah, it's and one professor, and it's all based, on what you mean and how you say it. I mean, that's a lot like other fields, but I would say psychology is more. The psychology gives professors more freedom to say, yeah, you got it, or no, you didn't. Um, Psychology gives professors the power to, um, I don't know how to put it. I don't know how to put it. Basically, if you don't have I mean, you can understand the concept, and understanding the concepts is fine, but how you apply the concepts is how every professor is going to understand how you understand the material differently. And so if you don't write the concept the way that they want it, then that could be disastrous for you. And I'm sure it's like that in other majors, don't get me wrong. I guess with other majors, though, you're going to, it's psychology is very vague. And how you interpret it, how you want to apply it, is going to be different based on every school, every professor, how they teach it. It's just going to be different. Whereas science and hard science, it's very matter of fact and very, okay, this is how it is. With psychology, there are many different theories, and different professors can subscribe to the different theories. So one professor may be an evolutionist, one professor may be um, more religious, one professor could be, one professor could be more along the cognitive side of things. One professor could explain. One professor could be more of a social theorist. It's very, your education is going to be heavily based off of what theory the professor is, the professor subscribes to. And again, I'm sure that's like that with other majors, but I would say that in science, and someone who's had the exposure to the science, is that, you know, with biology or microbiology, it's there. There may be different theories to why things are there, but like with the virus going around, it's a virus. We may not know enough about the coronavirus, but we know about other viruses. We know about other bacteria. We've studied how they affect the body. We've studied the mode of transportation. We've studied how they, oh boy, it's right there, isn't it? We've studied they, um, how they carry out their diseases and that kind of thing. Like psychology, there's, um, I don't know, so there's psychology of gatherings and of smaller people. Social psychology is the study of how different how different people within a group interact and how they best get results. And whereas sociology is looking at this group and that group and this group, not necessarily the people within the group. And then you have the cognitive psychology, and then the research psychology, and the statistics and the math. And there's a lot to it, but if you don't know let's see, what am I doing? I'm doing this one. If you don't know how to defend yourself and how you're going to choose what you're going to choose, you're going to be eaten alive. And so that's why I say that you have to know which field and what you're going to study in psychology, and that you should get a master's. And let's see. I'm just going to do this. Oh, that's pretty good. So I would have preferred something a little more hard science, and that's what I should have gone with. But see, one of the other things that I was thinking about, especially when I was looking at social services, is that men in psychology are highly preferred, just like the way that women in engineering and STEM fields are preferred. And so there's a serious lack of men in social services. And so being a guy, I'm like, hell yeah, I'm going to get in, I'm going to be preferred, I'm going to, you know, go like go places, and that really didn't happen. And so I'm like, yeah, nah. The problem that I have with social work is that, oh boy, the problem that I have with social work is that it's just too liberal. I can't stand it. Um, they have us talking about identity politics and how we need to help people, like, we need to help people who are illegal aliens and how they should get money from the government, especially with this coronavirus bill. And I'm like, yeah, hell no. I I find myself disagreeing with social work so much that it's just not for me. I can't deal with it. I would love to be able to do therapy and be able to help people, but I am not going to be the person who does therapy for LGBTQ. I am not going to be the person who does therapy for um, transgender people. I am not going to be the person who does therapy for illegal aliens. I would love to be able to concentrate more in the military and post traumatic stress disorder and that kind of thing. But it's gonna take a long time for me to be able to get to that point. And I could do better helping people in a field that is more directly related to science than I can in social work directly helping people. You know, I could do like lab testing and help find to figure out what diseases people have or that kind of thing. I'm not sure specifically what, but social work is a very liberal field that is almost tailoring to the left agenda, and that is sickening to me. I think it's wrong. I think that they need to focus. I mean, they build people up, don't get me wrong. And I am again, I am very thankful for social workers. But I think the National Association of Social Workers is getting it wrong. They are too leftist. They are pushing an agenda too much instead of focusing on actually helping people instead of they are too focused on the liberal agenda than actually helping people, what I think is the problem. And I know there's a lack of resources and everything in the field, which is why there's so many job openings. Um, so yeah, this is the part three of the warning to psychology majors and those who are in the field. Um, Again, it's a lot of my personal understanding. If you ever have any questions, if you ever want to ask me anything, if you ever want to, um, if you have a comment, go for it. Let me know. Um, yeah. So thank you for watching. Bye. Now let's see here.